6 o'clock, the women's 10K unseeded, one heat. At 6:40, the men's 10K unseeded, one heat. And then the invitational sections of the first the 1,500, then the 5K, and then the 10K. Total of 12 heats of the 1,500, 5 heats of the 5,000, and 2 heats, one each gender, in the 10K. Last race starting at 10:55 Eastern Time. So all those folks out on the West Coast, if you're riding along with us today, that's a 7:55 start. It might be light out still there, depending on where you are on the West Coast. All right. The men are on the line, and we're underway. Men's 5K at Bucknell.
Here's the field for Heat 1. This men's unseeded 5,000. Matthew Jacob of Binghamton, where's 1. Sam Fowler of Lafayette 2. Colin Young of St. Lawrence in 3. Patrick Klamer of Fredonia in 4. Gabriel Becerres of CAUL in 5. Isaac Valderbano of York in 6. Brandon Fleshock of Marywood in 7. Thomas Anyati running unattached in 8. Matt Parker of Walsh in 9. Garrett Fisher running unattached in 10. Matthew Serrano of St. Lawrence in 11. Brendan Kearney for Fair State in 12. Josiah Hicks of Malone in 14. Thomas Bricker of Misericordia 15. Camden Spring of Loyola in 16. Kevin Wagner of Shippensburg 17. Ethan Burns of Wayne State wears 18. Jared Swartz of Ohio Northern 19. Nathan Kaus of Oswego State in 20. Alfonso Knoll of Franklin and Marshall 21. Robert Allen of West Liberty is in 22. Kyle Roth of Ohio Northern 23. Kane Dufresne 24. August Petula running in 25. Davis Trump of DeSales in 27. Ryan Schulman of Misericordia 28. And Caleb Casper of Houghton in 29. Matthew Jacob of Binghamton leading a very crowded field in front.
All right, the men's 5K, first of 2 unseeded sections, coming up on the 1 kilometer mark. And they go through the first kilo in 3:02.
Is underway as well.
Matthew Jacob from Binghamton has been out in the lead wearing his all green, and he's credited at 3:03.17. He's still the number 1 man. Kyle Roth, Ohio Northern, and Matt Parker from Walsh, top 3 runners early on in the men's 5,000, first of 2 unseeded heats.
Regular men's pole vault, and then we have another 15 in the men's pole vault invitational. Invitational vaulters, they include Ethan Hessen of Army West Point, who was second in the Patriot League Outdoor Championships last spring. Ethan Hall of Army West Point, 4th indoors this year at Patriot League meet. Luke Knight of Penn State, 6th in the Big Ten Outdoor Championships last year, 7th indoors this year. Brian McSweeney of Army West Point, 3rd in the Patriot League Indoor meet this winter. Franco Parinati of Bucknell was 6th at the Patriot League indoor meet. Jonathan Peterson of Penn State, 7th in the Big Ten Outdoor Championships last year. Was among the 15 vaulters, and they are on the raised runway, which is along the infield, closest to the back straightaway. Meanwhile, here in this men's 5,000, Matthew Jacob of Binghamton continues to lead right now. Still pretty tight at the front, though, with Jacob, Matt Parker of Walsh, and Kyle Ross.
Matthew Jacob still the lead man in a long procession of 5,000 runners. Section number 1 of
also for CAUL, running in 5th.
2 unseeded groups running 12.5 laps. All right, so the men's 5K, I failed to mention the women's 5K leader. Men's 5K, Anthony Camerari from Ole Miss, excuse me. 13:26:58, currently number 1 in the U.S. collegiate scene. And that is going to take, I'm certain, going to undergo a lot of reshaping over the next handful of weeks. A total of 15 have run under 13:40. On the women's side, Oregon State's Grace Featherstone Ha, 15:30.55 is number 1. We still have some seeded races coming up for the women and one more unseeded for the guys at Bucknell. Still Matthew Jacob, and he's got a couple polar bears to his right with 7 laps to go. That would be Kyle Roth and Jared Schwartz. They're both juniors at Ohio Northern. I think some of my colleagues don't believe that polar bears can run 5Ks, right? All right, still Matthew Jacob. Matt Walsh is up there in the mix. He runs for the, Matt Parker from Walsh, the Cavaliers, the D2 team in Ohio.
Cornell has the stadium record at 20 feet 6 1/4 inches at 2007. 46 jumpers scheduled in the competition.
All right, we're going to get their midpoint split, 2,500 meters. We'll eyeball this one. And we'll say it's 7:41. So 15:22, doing the quick track math as Roth and Schwartz from Ohio Northern, along with Matthew Jacob, coming up on 6 laps remaining.
6 laps to go here in this first of 2 heats in the men's 5,000. Jared Schwartz of Ohio Northern now your leader as he goes by at 6:44.60. Matthew Jacob of Binghamton, our early leader, selling into second, but he's just 5/100ths behind Schwartz. Kyle Roth of Ohio Northern, 3rd. Matt Parker of Walsh, 4th. And Ethan Burns of Wayne State running in 5th.
The next time the field goes past the common finish line, it will be 3,000 meters down, 2,000 or 5 laps still remaining.
Schwartz will lead up to the line.
Here we go. 3K in 9:14. 9:14 for Jared Schwartz at 3,000 meters. Schwartz has been dialed in on 73 seconds prior to the last lap. It was a 74.8, slowest lap that he has run so far today.
Actually, Kyle Roth, I take that back. Kyle Roth of Ohio.
So Kyle Roth, the new leader for Ohio Northern, he's hit a couple 114s in a row, 74 seconds. Again, he's on the 9:14 at 3,000 meters.
Roth will lead him on down. Hicks right on his heels.
All right, the three of the top four from D2 schools in Ohio, as Roth and Parker go side by side, and now Parker in front. So that's Matt Parker from Walsh, senior, Kyle Roth, junior from Ohio Northern, and then Malone's Josiah Hicks. He is only a freshman, but there's a guy who was up front early on, led the first 5 or 6 laps.
Parker of Walsh actually got in first.
Matthew Jacob from Binghamton. He is a senior.
Roth now running second, Hicks third, Jacob of Binghamton is back up to fourth.
And they're coming up on 3 laps remaining.
It's still anybody's race. That lead group still tightly packed.
This field has about half of it stayed together, maybe a little over half, as the lead group.
Here also comes our early leader, Matthew Jacob, coming through. He's moved into second.
13. Baker's dozen, led by Kyle Roth from Ohio Northern. 3 laps of 12 and a half still left to run.
3 left. Roth and Jacob separated by just 8/100ths of a second.
Kyle Roth, Matthew Jacob, they run for Ohio Northern and Binghamton.
Just 0.26 behind our leaders as well.
And Matthew Jacob, early on he was running 73 second quarters, dropped back to 75. And now he pushes the pace, took the lead very briefly. And a new leader. Running for Houghton, that is Caleb Casper. He's a sophomore. But still a lot of athletes who could have a say in the winner of section number 1 men's 5,000. 2 laps remaining, 800 to go. We're working our way through the middle of the 5 o'clock hour on the East Coast. We'll be here till well after 11 o'clock, so we're just getting started.
Separating Casper and Jacob that time by the line.
3 wide down the back straight, a new leader once again. Looks like Kevin Wagner from Shippensburg. And he had moved up from 9th place the previous lap to the number 4 spot, and there's some separation. So the top 2 have broken away from that lead group of 13. Coming up, bell lap 14:05. So Kevin Wagner, a 69.5 400, has put that on top of a 72.7, moved him from 9th place into the lead. But it's Matthew Jacob. He's been around the top spot all along, and he is right off the shoulder of Kevin Wagner of Shippensburg. 200 meters remaining. First heat, men's 5,000, unseated. Wagner kicks it into a gear. Does Jacob have anything left? Matthew Jacob is starting to lose contact. His rubber band broken? And I believe it has. Kevin Wagner driving to the line. Matthew Jacob will not have enough track or leg speed left. The winner, Kevin Wagner from Shippensburg. His time, 15:12 point.
Jacob will finish second.
1-8. Nice run. Final 3 laps by Kevin Wagner from Shippensburg.
Rothman at 15:14.19. Jared Swartz finishing fourth at 15:15.10. And Josiah Hicks of Malone was fifth at 15:16.11. Robert Allen of West Liberty just 1/100th behind Hicks as well for sixth. One more heat of the unseeded men's 5,000, and we will set the field after they get them started.